Get ready for an eye-opening video as we explore moments when regular folks turned the tables on law enforcement. Without further ado, let's get right into it. In Case 1. In the scenario, Officer Peterson approached an individual, inquiring whether they were responsible for filming in the lobby. Despite the individual's refusal to engage in conversation, Officer Peterson persisted with further questioning. The exchange included phrases like, "Are you the one in the lobby?" and "I prefer not to answer," to which the officer responded, "You must provide a few answers." Despite the officer's insistence, the individual maintained their right not to answer and inquired about the officer's identity. Although the individual declined to present their ID, noting the absence of any wrongdoing, the officer's insistence continued. At this point, the individual questioned whether they were being detained. During the encounter, the man questioned the officer's actions, seeking clarification with phrases like, "Why is that?" and "Can I get your name and badge number?" When the officer identified Peterson, the man insisted on knowing his badge number. The conversation revealed the officer's identification as 10. The man then challenged his detention, asking the purpose and whether it was due to a crime. The officer mentioned fulfillment in farm law, as they sought to understand the situation. The man, however, asserted his rights, stating that detention requires a valid reason. He also requested to speak to the officer's supervisor, leading to the revelation that the officer was a sergeant. The exchange continued with discussions on detention and supervisory communication. Eventually, the man's refusal to answer questions and the sergeant's lack of alternatives led to the man's release. In Case 2. In a public setting, two individuals were filming their surroundings, including a police station, when an officer arrived and expressed concerns about filming people entering and exiting the station. The individuals asserted their right to film in public, but the officer contested this regarding the police station area. The officer explained that people released from jail have privacy rights, to which one person countered that filming from a public place negated this. The individuals cited their First Amendment rights, leading to a conversation about security and privacy concerns. As discomfort grew, the officer redirected the conversation, asking if they were filming for personal use, but they declined to answer. The officer accused them of antagonizing people, and when the individuals requested his name and badge number, he initially refused but later complied. The officer mentioned that their presence was upsetting people, though he indicated his personal indifference to their activity. The individuals acknowledged that people's feelings weren't their concern. The discussion continued about causing discomfort, with the officer suggesting that they might be antagonizing others. The individuals expressed that their actions were within their rights as they were in a public space. They pointed out that the officer was the only one seemingly provoking conflict. The officer's status as a public servant was raised, and they asserted their right to disengage from the conversation. The individuals informed the officer that he was dismissed and asked for his name and badge number, which he initially declined to provide but later disclosed. The conversation concluded with the individuals asserting their awareness of their rights. And in Case 3. In this case, a man was pulled over by a sheriff's deputy who requested his license, registration, and proof of insurance. The man, however, educated the officer about the requirement for a valid reason to ask for identification and articulated that reason. The officer initiated the stop, asking for the man's identification and mentioning his own. The man questioned the necessity of providing his identification before understanding the reason for the stop. The officer responded by suggesting identification would help in case the man fled. The man, asserting his constitutional knowledge, emphasized the need for a reason to request identification and expressed that he owned the property nearby. The man also revealed his awareness that the officer had been following him without cause. The officer explained that the stop was prompted by the man's multiple turns, to which the man reacted with disbelief. He requested the supervisor, continued explaining the law to the officer, and eventually wished him a good night. The man expressed his understanding that the stop lacked reasonable suspicion and questioned the officer's rationale for the stop. The conversation concluded with the man emphasizing his legal position and expressing his desire to be left alone. All right, that wraps it up for these remarkable instances where regular individuals stood their ground against law enforcement. And if you found these cases intriguing, hit that subscribe button to stay updated. Don't miss out. Like, share, and spread awareness.